Hello, welcome to the latest in our series of instructional videos on how to play Sudoku. This video is going to focus on how to get a fast start in Sudoku. When you first start playing a new Sudoku puzzle, what can you do? What should you think about? What process should you put in place to try to get a good start and immediately start putting numbers in place on the grid? Basically, Sudoku is a game of momentum. It helps to be able to keep building on the success you've had in placing numbers. Every single number opens up, or rather closes off certain parts of the grid. And so you basically are finding out more and more about the Sudoku grid with every number you successfully place. And one of the best ways to build momentum is to get a strong start. Ideally, you should be able to, once you're kind of past the beginner stage and you're a little more familiar with how to play Sudoku, you should ideally be able to kind of start placing numbers right away, just from looking at the grid, getting a sense of strategy and a sense of how you want to attack it. The best Sudoku players in the world are able to recognize patterns so quickly, and they're able to use such a, kind of piece-by-piece breakdown and looking at the grid that they can just kind of go in right away and start making plays, start placing numbers in the spaces. And so that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about in this video, is how can you get a good start. So right here you can see we have a Sudoku grid. It's a blank, grid. Obviously, it's not totally blank. There are already some numbers in place. But one of the things you should look at to try and get a fast start is look for some squares or rows or columns, vertical columns, horizontal rows that already have quite a few numbers in place. For example, this square right here in the upper right has 7 out of the 9 spaces already filled in. And so we know that we're only missing number 4 and number 7 from this upper right square. And actually, if you look down here, this lower right square, there's a number 4 in the left column. So we know that the number 7 has to go there, and the number 4 has to go there. So already, just by process of elimination, we've filled out a full square. And now we've placed 2 new numbers in this horizontal row, so there's only 3 empty spaces left here. We know that those 3 empty spaces have to be 2, 5, and 8. And look right here, I can see there's a number 8 in this column and a number 8 in this column, so the 8 has to be there. And so now we're just missing the numbers 2 and 5 to go in these 2 spaces. But currently, I don't have a good way to rule those out from any other direction. So I'm going to have to leave these 2 spaces blank. But obviously you can see just right off the bat, we very quickly were able to place 3 numbers in this horizontal row. Let's try and see what we can do to keep the momentum going. Down here in this lower left square, this is another one that only has 2 empty spaces, and we know just from counting quickly through the numbers that are in place that we're missing number 1 and number 5. There's going to be a 1 and a 5 in these 2 spaces. And look, there's a 1, so we know that the 5 has to go there and the 1 has to go here. And then just by placing those 2 numbers, that's changed a few more things on the grid, because this top row of these bottom 3 squares now has only 3 spaces that are empty, and we know that those are going to have to be numbers 2, 4, and 8. 2, 4, and 8. And right here we see number 4, so neither of these spaces can be 4, so the 4's got to go there. And so we're still looking for 2 and 8. I see a 2 and an 8 over here, so this column cannot contain the 2. This column must contain the 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Whoops. Whoops. You saw that? The red colors popped up. Sorry, we're not looking for 8 after all. We're looking for 2 and 9. I misspoke. I was focusing on the wrong number. So we're missing a 2 and a 9 from these 2 spaces. The 9 is right here in this same column, so that can't be the 9. So that's got to be 2. So that leaves the 9 right there. All of a sudden we filled out that entire top horizontal row. And now let's see what we can do in this lower right square. We're missing number 5, number 6, and number 8 in these 3 spaces. I see a 5 right here in this same column, so the 5 cannot be in these 2 squares. The 5 has to go here. So now we're missing a 6 and an 8. There's a 6 in this same row, so that means that the 6 cannot be there. The 6 has got to be in the bottom row, and that leaves the 8 right there. Now all of a sudden, you can see how the momentum just keeps growing. We have this vertical column on the far right has only one empty space, and we know just by simple process of elimination that it has to be number 4. That leaves 2 empty spaces within this same square. We need 1, 2, 3, and 7 are the last 2 remaining numbers here. And there's a 7, so that means this space has to be a 3, 7. Now let's see what this does to the horizontal row right here. We know we already have 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, so we need 4, 6, and 9. And there's already a 6 in this far left square, so that means the 6 is going to have to be there. And now we need a 4 and a 9. And you can see in this lower left square there's a 9 in the middle column, there's a 4 in the left column, so we're going to just reverse those 2 here. And now in this left center square there's only 3 empty spaces. We know we're missing number 2, number 5, and number 7. I can see 7s right here in the top row and center column, so that can't be a 7, that can't be a 7. That lower left space, lower left corner of the square must be number 7. Now we're missing number 2 and number 5. Here's a number 5 over here in the bottom row. That means that's a 2, and then the 5 is in the upper right. And now this top horizontal row of the middle section of squares only has 2 empty spaces. We know that that needs to be number 2 and number 9 in some order. But we currently don't have any other clues to show us which is which. So we're going to have to take a little break from this area of the grid and look around at some other places. Let's see. Why don't we take a look at... Let's take a look at this top square. There are 4 empty spaces. We know we need a 2, a 4, a 5, and an 8. 2, 4, 5, and 8. Here's a way that we can look at it. I see a 2 and a 5 in this bottom row, and then I see a 4 in the center column. So we can eliminate 3 of those 4 numbers right now, 2, 4, and 5, from being in this space. That means that that has to be an 8. So now we're looking for a 2, a 4, and a 5. Again, we have a 2 and a 5 in this bottom row, and there's another 5 in that column. So we know that 2 and 5 cannot be in this space, so that space has to be a 4. Just kind of chipping away at it a little bit. We've got a lot of the low-hanging fruit out of the way already. We've kind of placed the easy squares, and now we have to build on what we know, build on what we've learned, and keep the momentum moving forward so that we can try and solve the rest of this puzzle. But you can see why it's so important to get a fast start, because it just kind of sets you up for success, right off the bat. If you can get some good momentum going, get some confidence going, that you know where some of the numbers are, you know how to place them, that makes it much easier to kind of build on that momentum going forward. Let's take a look at this column right here, this vertical column. There are 3 spaces left in it, 3 empty spaces, and we know that we're missing number 2, 3, and 8. And I just got a clue right now, because in this bottom space right here, the bottom space of the column, there's a 2 and a 3 in that same row. We're looking for a 2, a 3, and an 8. The 2 and 3 cannot be in this space, so that means the 8 has to be there. Now we're looking for a 2 and a 3. There's a 2 in this bottom row, so the 3 has to be there. 2 has to be there, just by a process of elimination. Now in this bottom square, the bottom center square, there are 4 empty spaces. We know we're missing number 3, number 5, number 7, and number 9. And the challenge is, how do we figure that out, right? There are 4 empty spaces. Here's a 3 in the bottom row. Sorry, the bottom row. There's a 3 in there. And then there's a 3 in the center column. So that can't be 3, that can't be 3, that can't be 3. That space must be the 3. Now we need a 5, 7, and 9. I see a 7 in the bottom row, so that those 2 spaces cannot be a 7. So there's the 7. And we're looking for 5 and 9. And I currently don't know how to place those, so let's move on to another spot. Here in this bottom horizontal row, there's only 1 space remaining that's empty, and we know it needs to be number 1, 2, 3, 4. Currently missing the 4 from that spot. Let's look at this vertical column here that we just added the 4 to. There are only 3 spaces left. We know we're missing number 2, number 5, and number 9. And in each of these squares, currently we can rule out one of those numbers, but not two numbers. So we're kind of stuck on this column at the moment. In this top square, we're missing number 2 and number 5. And I don't know which is going to be which. Let's look at this center column. There's 3 empty spaces. We're missing number 2, number 5, and number 9. And it's the same situation in this column as it is in this column, where we're missing 2, 5, and 9, and I can't figure out how to rule any of them out yet. Let's look at this this horizontal row right here. There's only 2 spaces left. We know we're missing number 2 and number 5. And I can see the answer right here. There's a 2 in this column, so that has to be 5. That has to be 2. This horizontal column right here is missing number 4 and number 9. There's a 9 in the same row, so that's got to be 4. And there's 9. Three spaces remaining in this upper left square, 1, 3, and 6. There's a 1 in this same row, so the 1s cannot be here or here. The 1 must be there. Now we're looking for numbers 3 and 6. There's a 3 in this same column, so that has to be 6. And there's the 3. Let's see if we know any more than we did before. How to fill in these 2 spaces here. Or these 2 spaces here. We know we need a 2. We need a 2 and a 9. Down here we need a 5 and a 9. And at the moment I'm kind of stuck because I can't figure out how to decide which is which. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to guess. And that's not always ideal, but sometimes you get to a point in the Sudoku game where you're kind of stuck, and this is what you do. You just you can guess, and if you get it right or wrong, the game will let you know, and then you can adjust as needed. So here in this square, we know we need a 2 and a 5. I'm just going to guess 2 right there and 5 right there. So far so good. In fact, let's click solve. Yep, those were correct. I just guessed. The 2 and the 5 were correct. And now this center square, we're missing a 2 and a 9. Actually, now we know that that one cannot be 2, so that one's got to be 9. Because there's already a 2 in that same column, and there's a 2 that goes there. And then down below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9 are missing. There's a 9 in the same column, so there's our 5, and there's our 9. Congratulations, we've solved the puzzle. So, as you can see, a fast start is important, but it doesn't always win the game for you. You still might run into some situations while playing Sudoku, where even if you get a fast start, which we did in this example, you might get stuck. You might run into some situations where you're looking for the same 2 or 3 numbers in multiple rows or columns, and you can't get the right clues to know which number goes where. But sometimes, fortunately, this is a nice feature of Sudoku.com, is if you get stuck, you can kind of guess, and you can ask the game to let you know if you're right or wrong. If you're right, you're able to keep going. If you're wrong, you can try again and until you get it right. So that's our video on how to get a fast start playing Sudoku. I hope this has been helpful, and thank you for watching.